Hi, my name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single Friday afternoon, I give you the top-down analysis for BTC. We're going to give you a macro look at the world, though. We're going to look at Bitcoin, gold. We're going to look at the S&P, the DXY. We're also going to look at Bitcoin dominance, which is how much money is in Bitcoin compared to the rest of the market. We're going to give you a whole picture, also in the NASDAQ futures as well. Jump on in. Let's do this. I do it every Friday afternoon. You'll love it. Let's have a look. First thing I'm looking at here is BTC on the weekly. And one thing I want to show you is what's called hidden bullish divergence. You do have this kind of uptrend on Bitcoin while you have a downtrend on the RSI. Whenever I've seen that, I have seen us get a bit of a bounce. I also pull a Fibonacci whenever I'm dealing with this, this kind of look. I call it an indicator, but you find the indication, right? It's not like it's an indicator of itself, but you can put it together with the indicators. You see prices moving up, but the indicator, the RSI, is moving down. And you're at the 786 Fibonacci. Many times I've seen a retracement there, a bounce back to the upside, a reversal, I should say. So it's amazing, and again, maybe we just get to 104.5, 105 or 104.9 there, but it is telling me that there could be a nice move further back to the upside on the weekly. So right off the bat, just seeing some hidden bullish divergence on some big time frames. I have seen that reverse the price, especially with the Fibonacci. Another thing we talked about is, can the monthly stay above 82.250? It did that. As long as we kind of stay above there, we can continue to build to at least come for this resistance at 102. So the bigger time frames look okay. The 2-week is possibly doing a tweezer bottom. One could enter here with a stop below these 2 wicks. There's a chance you ride this thing all the way back up to 105.5, and it becomes a great move. You never know, but there is that chance. So I'm starting to see some possible movement. The 5-day has its first tweezer bottom close. We want to see this candle continue. There's 3 days and 7 hours till we get that. And then the daily. To me, the daily is kind of a big deal today because you pump back to the 21. That's what you expect. But this could definitely be one of two things. It could be a bear flag that's just ready to dump us further down. So, and this could be the entry. So if today we get a tweezer top close, that could be the entry for a bear flag further down to 77,000. So you really want to see what the daily candle does today. If it closes green and pushes up, we can make the right shoulder here. Right? Make this kind of like a shoulder, kind of head right shoulder, and we can continue this move back to the upside. But if you close tweezer top here, and what does that mean? It means a red candle next to a green one, right? Where these both have big tweezers, big wicks coming next to each other. That's not a good sign. We do not want to see the daily close like this. If that happens, looks like we could be starting a bear flag back down to $78,000. So we're not out the water just yet. We really need to see Bitcoin continue to move. And what you want to see on the smaller time frames is you really want to see that the 1 hour here that was in this beautiful flag just earlier, you want to see this hold its own. So you kind of draw this level here. You draw that line here. And yes, you broke out, but you'd like to see this bounce and get tight and then continue to break out. If this makes two right shoulders and starts to dump, you're taking a Bart Simpson right back down to 87,000, and then this could continue that bear flag. So there's some bear div on the 1 hour. I could see how the daily could turn into a tweezer top with a red candle. So it's really important the daily candle closes green today, and it's important that you see that 1 hour kind of hold itself and not lose, let's say, 90,800. So we're kind of right on the precipice of a possible bigger dump if Bitcoin can't hold some key levels here. So we had a nice reversal. Bitcoin had a beautiful pump back from 80,000 to 90,000. But it could just be a dead cat bounce. And so we got to look at that very closely on the macro. Then we want to look at the total market cap in all of cryptocurrency. That's very important. And it's kind of the same story. If we look at the bigger picture, right, you can see how the weekly's doing okay. And if you look at the 3-day chart, it really was about the 3-day not losing this 200 moving average. If the 3-day can stay above the 200, we could position ourselves to possibly make some type of ascending triangle here, right? We could be in this bigger channel that we rip back to the top. But either way you look at it, you could head back to here to this top end of liquidity into here, right? Now, if you lose the 200 on the 3-day in the next couple of days, this is just, or your right shoulder here, you could see a move further down. So we're not out the hot water yet. My only thing is this: I do remain bullish if we stay above this yellow line on the 3-day chart, but we got to stay above it. Price action has to remain above it. We have to continue to get some bullish closes here on the 3-day candle. So I'd be watching the 3-day very closely. We lose the 3-day 200 moving average, that means that this move just isn't a real rally, and we're going to continue. Same kind of story with Total 3. It's the entire market cap of all the cryptocurrencies, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you can see how they're hugging. If we take away everything I got, they're just hugging the 200. And you either roll over here, make a bear flag and dump, or we continue this pump. I can't tell you what's going to happen. I'd have to remain a little more bearish than bullish just because we are in a downtrend. But let's see. There's some hope here right now. And so next week, if in next week we're up here somewhere and we have battled above the 200, we're in good shape for continuing. But if next week we're below this 200 on the 3-day, we're likely going to continue to dump. So in the next 4 to 5 days, in the next basically 2 to 4 3-day candles, we're going to have a pretty good idea of whether we pump back up or we begin this reversal. So I would be watching the 3-day 200 moving average on the total 3 as well. It's going to tell us a pretty big story. We also want to take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Tells you how much money is flowing in and out of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin is going to get the reversal, in my humble opinion, the first thing you're going to see is Bitcoin dominance gets a bit of a pump. So the first thing we need is we need Bitcoin dominance here. See, get above this 200, and we need to see this kind of get a rally. That we know more money's flowing back into Bitcoin. Bitcoin rips back to 100K. It just changes the whole story, right? And things get pretty awesome. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this to get the bounce back to the upside here. That to me, that's important. You get that, then we can, because now you need the rally. You need Bitcoin to bounce back. Then you can see the money flow back into altcoins. Everyone thinks it's going to get this altcoin rally. Not so fast. Bitcoin has to bounce first, in my humble opinion. Has to regain dominance, and then it can distribute. Same thing here with Tether dominance. So like when we're looking at Tether dominance, we want to see the 3-day come back to the 21, and we want to see it make this giant shoulder, head, right shoulder. We don't want to see it like, that's why I'm watching the daily. We don't want to see it break out of this and continue to pump. If that happens, it means Bitcoin's in distress, altcoins in distress. So in the next 2-3 days, if you see this starting to go on a tear, that definitely tells me something is brewing bearish. But it looks good on the 3-day chart. The bigger the time frame, the more bearish it looks. And we keep getting more, the CME. It keeps telling us that we're going to get that rate cut. This was at 70. Now it's all the way up at 86, almost 87%. And I see it going into the 90s and higher. The higher this goes, the more likely we do get we get a rate cut. So, and that can only push more money into risk on assets and help the cause for BTC. So I like how this is setting up. It's pretty awesome. We move forward now into the DXY, and it can pump with Bitcoin, but you'd like to see it kind of finally start to kind of chill out a little bit. Like it's been on this rally since it double bottomed. Now it's hit a resistance, and it's at, it's been in this range. Would be cool if it kind of comes back down from this range. So it's in this kind of rising wedge. You'd like to see it slowly curve back down, make a right shoulder, and come back down here and kind of stay inside of this this channel. And also that could end up being a bear flag, right? Like something like this. And then the DXY further down, which, over time, if they continue to print money and there's going to be quantitative easing and they're going to stop quantitative tightening, I don't see how the dollar doesn't continue to lose value over time. Like I see it sloping down and continuing lower. And that's a cause for, for risk on assets to pump, for housing prices to get back up, and for just, most things to, kind of balance out there. So we are looking for the drop of the dollar. That would be good, right? It would be better for risk on assets like Bitcoin too as well. That brings me to gold. I always like to look at gold, and I actually just made a trade on gold. I see this daily making a beautiful flag, as you can see. And so far, everything we talked about gold is completely right. It's been tight and looks like it's going to continue. I made a long on gold, stop below like 3,800 there, and see if we can get all the way to 52. So I like gold, and gold looks like it's going to continue to pump. Oversold in a bull flag above the 21. Looks great on the 3-day chart. The S&P futures, let's take a look at those. I made a call that they were going to make a massive bounce to the upside. And I don't know if you remember, but I made the call right here. The S&P has bounced beautifully, just as I said it would, from the low at 65 all the way back to 68. It's crazy, right? You can see how I drew this. And I said when we get back here on my next analysis, we'll probably be up here making that right shoulder. I do see a pullback, the right shoulder a little bit, but I'm bullish on the S&P. My call has been amazing. If you've come to these, everyone was super bearish here. They said it was the end. It was going over. It was the end of, it was a bubble. I said look for this to bounce and make an inverted head and shoulder. That's exactly what we're getting here on the daily chart. Look at this. It's been beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight days of pumping, just like I called it. How did I know? The charts were telling me what was likely going to happen, and I went with it. The NASDAQ, same idea that the NASDAQ would get a bounce right back to the upside. Boom. The NASDAQ bounces back to the upside. So no bear flag, right? There was the idea that it could make a bear flag, or was it going to bounce? I'm looking for the bounce for the NASDAQ. It got exactly that. Wow. So the NASDAQ booms to the upside. I remember I made the call for the S&P and Bitcoin on the same day back on like 11/21 or something like that. Yeah, on Friday the 21st. Remember, I bought Bitcoin in the S&P last week, a week from now. And you can see that that continued to pump beautifully. Look at this, just absolutely ripping, even through bank holidays and all that. The S&P opened strong to the upside. So I made these calls. If you watch the macro analysis videos, and I see this coming up, making a right shoulder, and then continuing to pump, that probably was the last chance to buy the NASDAQ before a magnanimous rip, even further higher. So I'm bullish on the NASDAQ and the S&P, everything kind of going our way, and that is your macro technical analysis for the week. And I'll be back here next Friday to show you kind of where we end up. And I see us going higher, possibly, starting maybe the right shoulder, but consolidating for bigger gains. And I just see that the NASDAQ and the S&P in better gains. Bitcoin, struggling a little bit. It's decoupled from the NASDAQ. In my mind, it's going to be the daily close today has a huge impact on where Bitcoin's going to go in the next week. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.